Hey guys, is this thing on?
I'm sure I plugged it in. Is that plugged in over there?
Andy, is this thing on?
Checking. 1, 2.
Is this thing on?
Check. I have phantom power. Oh, yes!
Welcome to Chicks with Gear, the podcast, where three lifelong friends get together to drink some coffee, play some music, talk about gear, and our quest for the most perfect sound on stage.
Yes.
I'm Deb.
I'm Julie.
I'm Andy.
He's not a chick. He's our resident gearhead, the fabulous Andy Most. Andy.
Julie.
Hey, will you do the honors and welcome our guest today?
I would love to, Julie. Our guest today is Mr. David Mathis from the Gallagher Guitar Company.
Yes.
Often called Gallagher Guitars, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, we just met recently, and
We did.
even the conversation we had when you came down to visit the shop was like, okay, this is fun. And so next thing I'm getting an invitation, and here we are.
Right on.
Yes,
Exactly.
absolutely.
Welcome to our studio. We call it 3O Studio.
Yeah.
We do.
As Andy mentioned, David is one of the co-owners of Gallagher Guitar Company, along with his wife, Raina Mathis, who is also here in the studio.
Yes.
Everybody say, hey, Raina!
Hey!
Behind the scenes.
Behind
as
the
we say.
scenes.
Yes.
And when y'all were walking in today, I saw that you had a couple of guitar cases with
We
you.
did. Well, I was actually warned that unless I brought guitars, I might not be able to get entrance. So I took that seriously.
I like your style.
Yes. Well, we are thrilled that you and Raina are here. Well, I am very excited because living in Murfreesboro, I have known about Gallagher Guitar Company for a really long time. And so when we decided to do the podcast, you were top of the list. And so glad that you could be
Thank
here
you.
and that we got to put our hands on your beautiful guitars.
Yeah.
Well, you know, Gallagher was from Wartrace. That's where it originated. The Gallagher family had been in that area. I think JW was already the third or fourth generation
Wow.
Gallagher family. But it had closed in 2019. And Rain and I bought the company at the end of 19 and then moved it to Murfreesboro. And part of that was that Don Gallagher did not want to rent his building down in Wartrace, and we did not want to buy a building in Wartrace. Lovely little town.
It is. It's beautiful.
Out in the middle of nowhere, though.
It is beautiful.
Very little and
And
very
so
far away.
It made more sense to be in Murfreesboro, be out in the public a little more.
Oh, yeah.
Can I say one thing? When we played at Walnut House, I guess the first time pulling up, I was like, why? That's Gallagher Guitars. Wait a minute.
Yeah, right next door.
Yeah, it's just kind of sitting there. We have the sign out front, but it looks like a little building. But you've been there
It's
now.
huge.
Yeah.
And it just keeps going.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's
So
huge.
More than
it's
meets
really
the
huge.
eye.
Yeah. And lots of really cool stuff in there.
Yes, which we're going to be able to show the audience in a couple of weeks because we're actually going to do our first remote
Yes.
at Gallagher Guitars. Yes. So we're really excited about that. And we've actually hired some professionals to do it. So don't worry. It's not us trying to go in back and forth as you know, we're like do-it-yourselves here. But we are bringing in the team for
Okay.
next
All
week.
right.
Yes.
All right.
And
That
it won't be
sounds
any of
wonderful.
my children.
No.
Yes.
No.
They're usually our team.
Well, David, I heard that in college you played in a bluegrass band.
I did. It was so funny. There was a freshman orientation, and somehow I was selected to play in that. I'll tell you exactly how I was selected, okay? The guy who ran one of the little groups there that would travel for the school, he invited people to come up in one of the dorms and play. And I'm this quiet little guy. And so all the other guys are jamming, and then, you know, everyone has played, and then he looks at me, you want to play something? And so I played. And guitar has always been something for me to use to sing.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
there are people who are fantastic guitar players, and but it's just been something to accompany
Right.
me to be able to sing. So anyway, I finally stepped out and played something. So he selected me. And then one of the members walked through of this group that traveled for the school and heard me, and he invited me to join the band. I know.
Yes.
Well, it's because it was a 3-person band, and 2 of them were on academic probation.
That happens a lot to musicians because they want to practice. So
and other things.
in other things, the school that I went to for music,
Okay.
the majority of them were classical or jazz
Okay.
players, and they would hole up in the practice rooms. They wouldn't go to class. So yeah, you know,
Okay.
it's easy to
no
get
good.
on academic probation when you're a musician. Not all musicians are like that, but
Hey, I actually had a teacher that told me to skip English and practice.
Yes.
And
Priorities, right?
yeah,
That's funny.
that
this-
explains the crickets here a lot. So
Andy, was it your music teacher who told you that, or your English
course.
teacher?
I don't want to mention any names at the university.
Oh, that would be even better if it's an English teacher. No, Andy, go
Hey,
practice.
yeah.
Go practice guitar. I can't help you.
That's your future.
Can I go back?
Yes.
So, who taught you to play guitar?
Well, my youth director had a 1967 Gallagher G50.
Ooh.
And so that's how I got started
Oh, yeah.
on that guitar. So I've always known about Gallagher.
So it was like,
Meant to be.
yeah,
Kismet.
Oh,
Magical.
yeah.
magical. Yes.
Well, so we recently built a custom guitar for a gentleman. And the guitar was beautiful, but it was the story behind it is beautiful in its own way. Because Ray is the one who taught me how to play guitar in a certain finger style.
oh,
And he had a 1967 G50 that he used when he was at Lipscomb and played in a band there, a group,
Yeah.
that traveled for the school. So I had a gentleman give me a call, and we're talking, and then he mentions, I used to have a 1967 G50. I said, oh, I know someone. And I mentioned Ray, and it turns out they were band members together.
I love that.
I
I
love that
know.
too.
So
Ray.
then another gentleman calls me, this is about a year ago, and he gets to talking, and he said, I think you know Larry. And we go, yeah. He said, well, Larry and I grew up together playing guitar. And I taught
Really?
Larry how to play fingerstyle. Larry taught Ray how to play fingerstyle, and Ray taught me.
Oh. I love that. It's like
I
full
do love
circle.
that.
Yeah, that is cool.
So I was able to reach out, and we were all able to be together. And the musical DNA, the circle of
Oh,
that,
yeah,
we
that's
were all
really
together at the
cool.
same time.
I love this.
So those are some of the stories that come with guitar too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some great stories.
Speaking of stories, how did you and Raina meet?
Well, a mutual friend, I'll say.
Okay. Did she get to see you in your bluegrass band?
Okay, here's a funny story about that. No, the answer
No.
is no.
Aw.
She never. Now she was used
Dang
to me
it.
singing James Taylor's,
Oh.
John Prine,
Oh, yeah.
Gordon Lightfoot, that kind of stuff. And so
Yes.
we have a crazy invitation where the Gallagher guys are going to open up for someone at the Station Inn.
Ah.
And so it's like, I got to knock the dust off and learn a couple of bluegrass songs.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the other night, I told Raina, I said, do you want to hear what I'm going to do? I'm going to do 2. The guys are going to do more, but I'm going to get up and do a couple of songs,
Yeah.
And so she's like, okay, sure. And so I start playing the first one, and I see this look on her face where she's like, what's going on? Like, kind of like that dog look, when they twist their
Their
head.
little ears trying to understand.
And I finish up, and she goes, does it have to be so twangy?
Oh.
It's like, of course, it's bluegrass.
Where did Raina grow up?
California.
Oh, that
So,
explains it.
Yeah, not steep in bluegrass. Although surprisingly, right? The Bluegrass
Yes.
California Bluegrass Association.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I surprised her a little bit.
That's funny.
Does it
Did
have
you-
to be so twangy?
Did you really need to play that in G?
Again?
Yes. Yes. It must be in G.
Yeah, a G rhyme.
Yes.
So after college, what were you doing before you actually bought Gallagher Guitar Company?
Good question.
There's some time in between there.
Yes, and I'll skip over part of that story when you say after college.
Okay.
For one thing, I went to school forever. It seemed like
You did?
know, and eventually ended up. It took me a while to find what I really wanted to
Yes.
do.
Heard that.
But I ended up becoming a clinical psychologist.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
careful what you say.
Anything we want to talk about now?
Oh, no.
That could take a while. Might have to be part 2.
Yes, okay. You can have me back.
Yes.
And
That's
I
what's
was
been wrong
kinda-
all these years. Yeah.
I was kind of winding down that career, and I think looking for the next chapter. And so I definitely found it.
That's
Yes.
that is awesome.
Yes, it's beautiful.
We're glad
I
you
know.
did.
I know. Well, what do you guys think? What should we talk about next? Let's talk gear! Yay!
Woohoo!
Okay. Yes. That one guy, he's very excited.
So we could do. He's always here.
He's here every week.
He's kind of a loser.
I'm only here twice a week.
Not you.
Oh, okay.
The guy on the thingy. He always goes,
Monster.
yeah, yeah. All right,
But
Andy.
you notice I got my Andy side
he's got-
up. Yeah.
He does.
Woo!
He's channeling Andy.
Andy has. Yeah, Andy needs his side.
Andy
on it.
takes side up.
I'll kick off the gear talk today.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay, Andy, bring it.
All right. Well, I've got some specific guitar geek kind of questions. Yeah.
yes.
So the guitars originally, before you bought the company, what was the inspiration? Martin guitars, or do you think, or
Really interesting. I've heard some of these stories from people who knew J.W. Gallagher back in the day. He was doing his thing building furniture. He had and when I say building furniture, he was building Queen Anne style, very elaborate
Oh, wow.
desks and tables and chairs, a lot of cherry. But he was recruited by a company, Slingerland Drum Factory, that was over in Shelbyville. And they wanted to start building these little retail guitars like Sears and Roebuck. And
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
And so he knew nothing about guitars. So he took guitars to the bandsaw and cut them open and reverse engineered
Ooh.
how to build guitars.
Hopefully these were like not beautiful guitars he took apart.
Some of them were, because I've heard some of those stories.
Really?
Yes. One man had a stellar guitar. Is that the right name for that?
Stella? Right?
Was it Stellar or Stella?
Oh, well, I know
Depends where
there's
you live.
Stella.
Someone,
Yeah.
In
someone-
Massachusetts, baby Stella.
But a gentleman had one that JW wanted to buy from him. He told him, I'll give you one of the first Gallaghers if you'll do that. And he said, I didn't want to sell my $25 guitar.
Wow.
He could have had a Gallagher.
Oh, my gosh.
But that's what he would do. He would open them up. And they later also conferred with C.F. Martin on some things. But that was a background of being a master woodworker more than a guitar builder. And they really evolved over time because there were things he just didn't understand about what the guitar needed.
Right.
Well, you showed us some really cool machine. Like he had to actually build the machines to make it.
Yeah, the first year when he started, because he didn't want to build the cheap guitars because he was used to building masterclass stuff.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
But then he had to build his equipment to build the guitars. And so we still have some of that.
That's really cool.
Oh, no, after a very late night in Homestead, Florida, I got back and I tried to reverse engineer a Telecaster with a Dremel.
Oh,
And,
Oh, no.
yeah, it didn't work out
It must
very
have
well.
been a late night.
No, so, yeah. Anyway,
Was there some alcohol?
No bueno.
that's what I'm wondering.
I'm wondering.
I can
or
either
some
confirm
anger.
or deny that.
A Dremel is a toy, anyway. It's a toy.
Right. And that wood will catch in fire inside your guitar. So it will,
Okay.
Anyway,
Yes,
Andy.
unexpected.
very embarrassed to
Now
bring
we
it to
know.
Joe Glazer the first time that I came to town to do anything. But
You know,
anyway.
you know if you know,
Yeah,
Joe.
that's right. Sorry. So
Yes.
just some more geek questions about the guitars. Are they dovetail or bolt on? Or
We're going full geek right now.
right on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're going full geek.
Okay.
Yeah. So, bolt-on necks, there's so many advantages, so many reasons for that. There's been some debate that you don't get as much transference of tone if it's not a dovetail
Right.
and that type of thing.
Right.
But if I were to play two guitars, one dovetail and one bolt-on, I don't think you'd tell the difference.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody is at a level where they can
Yes.
hear, but 99% would not tell the difference.
Right.
And so we
believe
held
it.
off for a while.
Yeah.
The G70 and the Doc Watson models, like, no, they've always got to be a dovetail. But there's just so many advantages if you have to ever reset a neck, for example. So everything is bolt-on now, unless it's a custom order and they want a dovetail.
Right.
And we'll do it. We curse a little bit because if you're not doing it all the time,
Yeah. Why not
know
give
that.
it away? But I
know
may have tried two of these guitars before this started, and they were fabulous. So, yay.
Yes to that.
yeah. We'll take some applause for that.
Yes.
There's
Yes.
that guy.
I don't want to.
He wants
I
to.
don't want to go too. Well,
Go for it.
all right.
Just go for it.
Yeah.
The tops, are they? How do you select the tops?
Yeah.
Yeah. Very interesting, really, because people think of the tops from a visual standpoint,
Right.
Yes.
and that is important, but it's more important about the tonal qualities.
Absolutely.
And that's where we put our emphasis. And when they were there, I gave some demonstration. You didn't
Right.
see the testing take place,
No,
but
yeah.
we talked about the stiffness and tapping the tone, which is always interesting. And you can really learn a lot from tapping.
Right.
The pitch, the sustain on it. But we also do audio testing, and we find the frequency of each piece of wood
Wow.
for the top
Pretty
wood.
amazing.
And then we build to that piece of wood rather than just build to the specs.
Yeah.
Was that geeky enough?
Yeah, it was great.
Super geek.
Good enough.
Okay.
Yes, it was.
I'll leave it there for me.
But we pride ourselves in that. That's
Yeah.
just so important to get the good tone.
Well, it's working.
Yes. And I know from being there that you have a lot of young men that are luthiers. And I thought it'd be kind of interesting to talk about at that age, like how did they get there? Do you have an apprenticeship there? And maybe talk about
Okay.
what it takes to make one of these beautiful guitars.
So let's step back, first of all.
Yes.
In a bigger picture, you may be familiar with it's an issue for a lot of young men to figure out, what am I going to do?
This
Yeah.
is true.
Do I just go to college and spend 4 years not knowing what I'm going to do?
Yeah.
And to be able to find a profession that you really love and you're passionate about and can
Yes.
make a living at it.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's what we're providing an opportunity for. I have a happy team.
Yes, you do. Yeah. And they're very cool.
yeah.
Yes. They're all musicians too, of course,
Yes,
right?
of course.
Yes.
That's why I feel kind of privileged they're going to let me up
They're
here and
still
play with
happy
them,
though, right?
'cause-
They're still happy.
and they're still happy.
They seemed very happy when we went in there.
It's very common for a jam to break out during breaks.
Yeah, I
at
love
this
I
time.
love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, how do they come to you? Are they trained, or you train them, or both?
Both.
Okay.
There are some that have gone to luthier school,
Oh,
and we have certain ones that we really like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Others have had an interest in music and have come to us, and we've trained them.
wow.
Well, that's fabulous.
We like woodworkers that have
Yeah.
some experience, like the Matt I was talking about earlier, who does social media for us. He's a woodworker first.
That's fabulous.
Wow.
I shouldn't say first because he loves music too.
Yes.
It's like everything's coming together for me.
Oh, yeah.
music,
Yeah, it's all of
woodworking,
it.
and video.
I love that.
Yeah. Well, it smells fabulous
Yes.
in there because all that fresh wood.
You know, I called a candle company one time to see if maybe we could have like a
I know,
rosewood
right?
candle.
Oh my gosh.
That's a really great idea.
Yes.
That's a really,
Because there's some really crazy scents out there now that
Yeah.
people put out on the market. So that would be awesome,
It
actually.
I would
does
buy
smell
one.
good in there, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, that
you
would-
know, you'd even
people
wear
would
that
like
as
it.
a perfume. Walk around smelling like a
I
guitar.
I smell
like a Doc Watson. Oh,
Oh, you smell earthy. Wow, sexy. Not.
oh my.
So, how long does it
I
take?
love the smell of rosewood in the morning.
I know, right?
Good one.
I'm sorry, wood smells great. I love the smell of wood.
It does.
Well, how long approximately when you see the gentleman at their stations does that guitar live with them and then it goes on to the next station?
Okay, about a week to 2 weeks.
Oh,
maybe,
wow.
on
Wow.
each Station.
So they get a real
Of course,
good.
they're working on different ones at the same time.
Oh, they are?
repeating the process
Okay.
for different ones, and then it moves on to the next phase.
And so from start to finish, about how many weeks? Months?
We estimate 3 months.
Okay.
and we like to do
Oh,
it
wow.
sooner than that. But
Okay.
you know,
Perfection does
Yeah.
not come fast.
That's
it doesn't, and it's not always a straight line. There's a little bit of this or that you have to
wow.
adjust for at times, and especially the finish process. Finish can be really
I was just going
finicky.
to ask.
oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And why is that?
Well, it's the preparation. If you don't have really good preparation, you put finish on it, it's like a magnifying glass.
Oh, I know
Any
what you're
little
talking about.
scratch that was missed or
Little
some-
dust
Yes.
behind.
Lipstick on a pig.
What is?
What?
Go ahead.
Lipstick on a pig.
What is the,
Ah,
what finish
sorry.
do you use? Or is it different for?
Yeah,
someone
we
saying-
use what some would say is the holy grail of finish for musical instruments, and
Oh,
that's
do tell.
nitrocellulose.
Oh, Andy got that.
Wrong
He got
one.
Can you say that word again?
I mean, you know,
Yeah.
Can you say that again? There was a lot of noise around the word you
you
said.
got
Oh,
it.
See-
No.
Nitrocellulose lacquer.
Oh, yes. Yes.
A lot of companies will use.
Sorry.
We're really enthusiastic about
told you that guy
That's
is-
a good one.
there he is right
That's
there.
a good one. A lot of companies will use polyurethane of
Oh.
some type, and there are videos online. I mean, companies that mass produce guitars, it's really amazing, really.
Yes.
But they have very few hands on guitars.
Oh,
The
yeah.
finish process, the buffing process, everything's
yeah.
done by computers. And it's amazing that they're
really?
able to do so well with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we pride ourselves, especially with our sunburst. Every sunburst is going to be a little different because it's not
yeah.
a computer doing it.
Yeah. Wow.
It's done by hand.
Yeah,
Geek part just for a second.
Geek
This doesn't-
alert.
This doesn't have
Some more
to. Can always be edited. So, other than sealer, guitar finisher that I'm not, is the nitro straight over the wood, or is there anything?
Oh,
in
there's
between?
a process. Oh, no, there's a
Okay.
process.
It might be a secret process.
Yeah, it could
I don't
be.
know.
I'm
Could be.
going to geek a little more.
Okay,
All right.
please.
So woods like cocobolo,
Yeah.
East Indian rosewood, they're more porous.
Right.
And we now use epoxy to
Oh.
fill the guitar, first of all, sand it back to the wood so that we're leaving epoxy in those pores. And then there's another sealer that goes on. There's color work. And then there's the finish.
Right.
Oh, wow. That's a lot of steps.
There
Well,
are a
it's
lot of
beautiful.
steps.
I mean,
Beautiful.
they're beautiful.
Thank you.
And all of the inlays, that was cool. We got to see how they do all that on the fretboards. That's really cool. Beautiful work.
And we get some custom requests about
I was
inlays.
going to ask you about that.
you know.
Like if some,
I
like
think you saw one
somebody might want
with the
one.
name across there.
Yes. Yes.
Well, it's a way to personalize a guitar.
Yeah.
Someone has certain ideas that represent something to them. Like someone sent us a pattern that we were working on. We mocked it up and sent a copy. I said, "This is what we have laid out." And she says, "Where's the dot in her scripted name?" And there's not an I in it, but she has a dot in it.
Oh.
And we thought, "Oh, it's just a mistake.
It's like her
just a
brain.
random
That's
dot."
funny.
She says it has meaning for me.
Do tell. Is it a secret meeting?
Well, apparently, because she didn't tell me.
No way. So we get to make one up.
Yes. Oh.
Oh, what does the dot mean? Oh,
We'll have to make something
you make
up.
something up, man.
Yeah, it's really cool.
What if someone wants to buy a custom guitar?
So we love doing custom guitars
Oh, yeah.
for a number of reasons.
Yes.
Very often the individual is able to come to the shop. We'll look at wood.
Oh,
They
wow.
may come with an idea of what they want their guitar to sound like. Maybe they have some ideas of what they want it to look like. But to be involved in the details
Oh, yeah.
of choosing wood,
Yeah.
it's so meaningful for them and us too.
Yes.
The other thing about that is we know where it's going. It gives special meaning.
Yeah.
And when we do the soundboard, when we know where it's going, when we cut the sound hole out, we save that and everyone signs it and gives it to the individual.
I love
that's a good
that. That is a great idea. So,
I love that.
do most of the people who are asking for these custom guitars, do they know like what would they want, or do you have to educate them for the sound they want, or is it
There's
just
usually some education in the process.
okay? I would think
And
so.
that's what I'm wanting to learn from them is what do you want your guitar to do? What do you want it to sound like?
Yes.
And so we get to work together. The visual part of it's the easiest part.
Yeah.
But even so, like someone came in the other day, I really like Paduk binding.
Paduk binding.
And so I knew instantly that was not going to work visually for what he wanted.
Oh.
But rather than me say that, okay, let me go get a piece of Paduk and lay it beside this piece of cherry and tell me what you think. And it was obvious the clash of tone.
Yes.
Because visually, we care about how it looks too. We don't want to just say, okay, we'll put Paduk on it.
Right.
So that's the edging, right? The binding.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. In case somebody doesn't.
It's the bumper guard for
Yeah.
guitars.
So I'm wondering if that comes from your background, because you never tell someone no in sales, even though you have to tell them no, but you never say no. So you sound like maybe that may have come from your previous. That's very
Not that it's strategic. I think it's just natural at this
Yeah.
point.
yes.
Like we had someone the other day. I won't say anything more about that other than the request was not really going to work.
Right.
But what I knew was this individual needed to be heard.
Yes. Exactly.
And so, we spent time talking and listening and reaching and understanding.
Yes. I love that. No, it's hard, right? Because
Yeah.
you're trying to create this most beautiful instrument for them so that they treasure it forever. And maybe their ideas doesn't work with how a guitar works or how it sounds.
How it sounds and visual too. We care about all those things too.
Yeah.
It represents us.
Yes.
And they say, oh, I want you to do this. Well, that doesn't work for us.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
are those times too.
I would imagine so. Have you ever had to tell someone, we just can't do that for you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's all kinds of ideas out there.
I'm sure.
Yeah. So there have been guitars we've turned down because it was not for us to build for them.
So,
And that's okay.
Yes.
yeah.
Absolutely.
You've been in business now as co-owners with your wife for 5 years. Is that right?
January 2020.
2020.
Yeah.
So, of all the things that you've had to do, whether it was the actual building of the guitars, building the business,
Yeah.
what would you say the biggest challenge has been or is?
The biggest challenge has to do with the business side,
Has it?
for sure. We came in, we're a startup company,
Yeah.
if you think about it.
Yes?
Yeah.
And I was able to bring some people who'd worked at Gallagher in the past, and they helped us get on our feet. But it's really high standards now
Yeah.
with steel string guitars, and we had to get to that level. And it's not an automatic thing.
I would
and
imagine
then you
not.
have to move back into the market when you had disappeared
Oh, yeah.
from the market. And so we're having a good year. We're becoming the go-to guitar among bluegrassers.
Wow, congratulations.
Martin has this tremendous history. And there's always going to be those
Yes.
37 D18s and
Yes.
D28s and that just and the name and the history of Martin. But among boutique guitar builders, we're definitely stepping forward.
That's fabulous.
Well, congratulations
Yes.
on that.
Where's my card? Right there. Yeah. And I love little Doc Watson.
Oh my
I mean, I wished I had got to meet him. I've seen a lot of him talking, and he was just precious.
Yes.
Like the love of what he did, and he was very humble about himself. And
So, Julie, why did you mention Doc Watson?
Because you have a Doc Watson that I got to play, and it's beautiful. I've got my eye on it.
It's very special to us. We had some bluegrassers in from East Tennessee the other day, young men.
Oh.
They're at ETSU studying bluegrass.
Oh, very cool.
Program there, yes.
Yeah. And
so they came by, and we played guitars for a while, then went up to the shop. And you guys remember the side bending machine that JW built. And so I didn't tell them what it was first. I just said, guys, I want you to come over here and put your hand on this. And then I tell them, Doc Watson's guitar was bent on this machine.
They must have died.
Yeah.
So if my math is correct, he would be 101 years old this year. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he continues to be discovered by people. And
Isn't that
influence
crazy?
People.
Yeah, his music, great. I'm learning a couple of his songs.
Oh.
Of course, I can't play him that fast. And but I just
That makes two of us.
yeah.
Well, I think with Billy Strings coming into the world and really setting the world on fire and getting people to know about bluegrass. So I found something really interesting about him. I never really listened much to his music, but I've become a fan. And he said that before he broke into the bluegrass world, he was playing in metal bands.
Yes.
And so he
I've seen
thought,
a picture.
yes. And he said it was so fun, like the costumes and the stage. So he said, I'm going to bring that to bluegrass. And I truly think that like that's one of the things that has inspired this generation to love the music, because it's the music is he sounds like a bluegrass guy.
Yes.
Yep.
And he's really fast and great singer, great songs. But when you look at his stage, you would swear you're at a metal concert or a rock concert. And I love that he meshed those things two together. And now these younger people are going back and like, oh, what inspired him? And looking at all these older bluegrass people. And it's super exciting because it's kind of like what happened with jazz music and other kinds of music where it kind of died down a little bit, and then people get re-inspired and start digging back and see who inspired who.
Well, I've been thinking about it, and I'd be interested in your thoughts too. It makes me wonder, with all kind of the craziness and stuff going on in the world, we won't really go into that.
Yeah.
If there's something fundamental about bluegrass that's part of the appeal too.
I believe
Getting back
that.
to the roots.
It's heartfelt and it's
Yeah.
simple and pure emotion, really.
Right. It's basic. It's fundamental, you know.
It's really, I think when people listen to a lot of the songs, people were, especially when bluegrass really became prominent in America, people were going through really hard times, and music throughout history has provided solace to people. I feel like, again, not to get too touchy-feely, but I think it's a real way to communicate to God through music, or maybe he's communicating to us when we write songs, is kind of how I feel. They just kind of float by. God's like, here's an idea. And I do think like it's a grounding thing. And also it's kind of like going to church, right? When you're in church and you pray, there's all this energy going out. I think music is the same. When lots of people gather to hear it, like as an artist ourselves, like you feel their energy when you're on stage.
Oh, yeah.
It's the most unusual feeling. I'm sure you know that feeling. And it's a way to communicate with people, things you've gone through that they've probably gone through. And I think that's one of the most magical things. And I just love what Billy Strings is doing for the bluegrass world and music in general,
Yeah, it really is a shared experience that way.
Yeah.
It is. It is. I think that
Connecting people.
There's nothing like when you go to a show and you bring friends and you share that energy that's coming to you, and you go back and forth. And I just, being on stage, you definitely feel the energy from people. And like, I love eye contact. Excuse me. A little froggy today.
She's so phlegmy.
Have some coffee.
I have some more coffee with cream. But I love that. And, it's such a unique experience. And in the shows that I've been with family and friends and gone to see, it's such a shared thing. I love that.
So my perspective is more about having an instrument that we take raw wood and we build this instrument that makes that type of thing possible.
Yes.
Yeah.
And to see our guitars on stage,
Yeah, because I feel like
yeah.
oh, that feels wonderful. It's exciting.
So I've seen this guy on YouTube, just a blazing guitar player. I'm like, who is this guy, man? And also I was curious about a guitar he was playing, but equally as impressed with like unbelievable chops. And then I was looking at your site and I saw him on there, Shadowgrass. This guy.
Goodness. Kaiser George.
I don't know anything about him, but
Well,
when
let
I
me
saw
just
who that,
say, we're building a guitar.
you're right. Blistering.
He's impressive as a player.
Yeah.
Yes.
how old is he? Does he mind?
19.
Oh,
Oh,
my.
wow.
But I tell you what's really impressive is his character.
Oh,
Getting to know him.
that's cool.
I told Raina after meeting him and his girlfriend, I said, I can tell they come from good people.
Oh, about that.
Yeah. He's fantastic.
Yeah, Andy said something to me, and I was like, wow. Yeah, it's amazing.
Send
So
something
you
what?
saw the video with
So-
Kaiser?
Well, there was
Yeah,
some stuff on
Lucas playing
YouTube.
Slime,
Yeah.
but I had seen before, and I was going, that sort of looks like this
Yeah.
guy. And then when I saw the name of the band, I was like, all right,
Yeah, he stopped
that is
by,
it.
and we had just finished up that G50 that you were playing earlier.
Oh,
That's
right.
our prize guitar for
Right,
Gallagher
right.
Fest is coming up. And so we're like, Kaiser, you want to warm this one up?
Ah,
And he really did.
yeah.
Yeah.
Flying fingers.
Yes. Wow.
I'm trying to get fast. I'm about 75%. Blackberry Blossom with Tony Rice.
Good for you.
Yeah,
Good for you.
75%.
Good for
That's
you.
pretty good.
So
I'm at
for
35%.
Oh, you are not.
so for several years, I've been trying to. I'm not a big bluegrass player, even though I play mandolin.
Yes. Yeah.
But I've been trying to also get faster and faster. So Julie wanted us to, and Andy wanted us to learn Lonesome Fiddle Blues, and so I have this version that little Sierra Hull, when she was like
Okay.
10, gets on stage with Sam Bush
Wow.
on this radio show. And I mean, she was a peanut, and she used to come behind me when I was taking lessons
Really?
with Dave Harvey. I didn't know.
Okay.
He used to be like, "What do you see this little girl? Like, she's amazing." And anyway, so when I saw this video, like 20 years later or more, I was like, "Holy cow!" So I will try and learn from the YouTube video. And so I'll take it down slower. And then I'm like, okay, I'll speed it up enough. And I try to play with them at that speed. I'm like, oh my God. I think I'm going fast. And they are just like a blur. And that's when she was 10.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I got a ways to go on the speed. But it is really fun. So we've been trying to learn that. And then we actually started getting into gypsy jazz, and we play
yeah, I
some.
love
Those guys are super duper fast,
yeah.
and we even have recorded some stuff. But Andy had a gypsy guitar. Do you want to talk
Okay.
about that, Andy? Although you did send it back,
Yeah.
but
I sold it.
it was so bendy.
I'm going to get another one though. Well, those are a little different also.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like people, I just saw something recently today, I'm going to get an arch top, and then I'm going to get gypsy jazz guitar. And then when you start comparing that to like a dreadnought or something, it's a whole different
Yeah.
animal,
Right.
and they go away. That's not why I gave it away. I suck at gypsy jazz. That's why I gave it away.
he
But
doesn't.
I
No,
gotta
he
get it. I
doesn't.
do want to get a good one.
I
This
stand
Yeah.
for yourself, right? Yeah.
The
Yeah.
bending
That's fun.
of the notes is
Yeah.
insane, and Andy's a great note bender.
Deb
Yeah.
is, I think that's one of her main frustrations with mandolin is can't bend notes on it.
Yes, hence is why I don't know if you can see it sitting over there. My mando stang.
Yeah.
It only has 4 strings,
Okay.
and you can bend those like a
Okay.
mother.
All right.
Yes, and I love that thing. We used to actually take it on
Okay.
stage every once in a while. I would bring this Princeton amp back here with me,
Which we
and-
call the Princess Amp.
yes, it is
Princess
called the
amp.
Princess amp. Uh-huh.
It's the princess.
Yes. And so bending strings is really my biggest form of jealousy, is that I cannot bend strings that sound good on my mandolin.
Well, you can do a tremolo. We can't.
That's
we can't
true.
do that.
I can do a tremolo, yes.
Really
Yes.
fast,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, we have tremolo wars.
We do have tremolo wars.
I lose all the time.
I have to credit Dave Harvey for that. He taught me how to tremolo, yes,
Okay.
and how to practice to get faster at it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And that was a couple years ago.
Oh, yeah, only like 5 years ago.
Okay.
Just kidding. That was a long time ago. Yeah, when he was over at the violin shop. He was their main luthier over there, and he taught lessons at night to people over there.
Very nice.
And he had his band back then, and he still does. And now he's over at Gibson. So
Good to know.
So is there anything else we should know, like about your guitars, about you?
The other thing I'll add, I think I've made reference to this. I'm just really proud of what we're doing.
Yeah.
The
You should
team,
be.
the team that we have, but that we preserved this iconic name in the guitar world. And Gallagher was not as popular the last few years, before they closed. But we're getting back there again.
Yeah, that's fabulous.
Absolutely.
And it should be. It's a,
When did they close?
They announced that they closed in May of 2019. But
Okay.
really, it had been about 2 years.
Oh,
that They
really?
had not built a guitar.
oh, wow.
So
How does somebody purchase one of your guitars?
they can come see us.
Right.
We always love that,
Yep.
getting to know the person. But we have different dealers.
Right.
And Carter Vintage has some of our guitars
Yes.
now.
Excellent.
And you can go
Excellent.
play them. If you haven't been to the new store, they moved across the street.
Right,
It's
have
a
not been there yet.
fantastic store.
Oh.
And it still feels like the old place,
Right.
but just nicer, more room.
More room. We like more room.
Yes.
We're hoping to make our studio bigger at some point. But the
I like
kitchen.
the cozy.
Yeah, do you like the cozy? Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, we're making do. Turned into a girly dining room into a studio.
Yes.
So I see you have something sitting on our table.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that.
Yes.
I totally forgot. I set it out here so I wouldn't forget.
Yes. Well, you know
This
what?
is a really cool product.
What is this?
And Kevin Mack, who's been around music for probably a decade now in Nashville, good songwriter. His most well-known song is Granny Drinks Whiskey.
We don't know anyone
you've
here
ever-
that drinks whiskey.
But during the pandemic, he launched this idea of a tick pick.
Interesting.
And I brought the sample.
Oh.
Now, we were the first co-partners, co-branding, I guess is the right
Oh,
word.
yeah.
And we only got I think what they call strong thickness.
Ah.
Mando's
But-
needs drunk. Oh, look
yeah.
at this.
So-
Ooh.
And they have another one that's coming out that's even a stiffer, which for bluegrass players, electric rhythm, but for bluegrass, if you're going to take a break, you want a nice thick,
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
like blue chip.
Yeah,
So they have one that's coming
like
out
a blue
that's-
chip. That's what we play with a lot of times. I do.
But here's the magic.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
So you stick it to your guitar.
Oh.
You know what? I think I met this guy at the
Okay.
Opry.
Okay.
Yes, I was at the Opry with a friend of mine, and we were backstage. And this guy came. She's a publicist. Her name's Jill Swarton. Shout out to
Hey.
Jill Swartman. And he came over to her, showing her these, and he did that. And I'm like, this has to be the same guy.
Yeah.
Give me one of those.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's
so cool.
So
What's his name?
Here's the pack for you guys to distribute.
Oh.
Now,
Ooh.
it has little plastic covers when you first pull them out. And so I had a guy at a festival, he bought a pack. And he came back to me the next day. And he said, I was so proud of these. I was going to show my friends how to stick it on the guitar. And I'd stick it and slide off because he didn't pull the plastic.
Boys with gear.
He
Yeah.
thought he had a bum pack.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
These don't work.
Oh. She don't know.
But yeah, it's a cool idea.
I love
and
that.
I've been known to, lose
Yeah.
the pick, and the grip really does help.
I bet. I'm going to
That's
try
really
those out
cool.
tonight.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's time for some magic so that we can actually
Oh.
see and
Oh,
maybe
really?
play some of those beauties that you
Oh, yeah.
brought with you.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
How does magic happen?
Well,
Well, wait.
is
Should we try some Magic Mind first?
Magic mind.
Do we have to? Just kidding.
What am I stepping into?
We love
I
the
think
Magic
Deb's
Mind.
mind.
I
I think
love
my
Magic
mind could
Mind.
use a little magic.
Okay.
yeah, so can mine. So can mine. Well, Andy, I do believe they're sitting to the side. No, Dave, you do not have to participate.
Excellent.
This is non-alcoholic, FYI.
Okay.
Has some matcha, some limeades, adaptogens.
There we go.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just a little shot. We do these all the time. I've been doing this for 2 years. And I have to
More
say,
stress less.
yes,
Boost energy and focus.
focus.
Crush
This,
procrastination.
Yes,
Mhm.
that I need.
I'm a
Okay,
big fan.
So we give it a shake.
Yes.
We're going to do this, right?
Yeah.
And I do have an affiliate link for this.
It's still green.
It's still great.
But it's so good.
It is called Magic Mind.
It is.
Okay.
Cheers.
Bottoms
Cheers.
up.
Bottoms
All
up.
right.
Not bad, right?
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm feeling better already.
I knew you
No.
would.
I know. I'm feeling smarter.
The flow.
Indeed.
The flow.
Shall we
flowing.
Shazam our ways to the fireplace?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Shazam!
So, shall I tell you a little bit about these guitars?
Please do.
Absolutely.
So, the model you're playing is the G50. And it's called the 50 because when J.W. built his very first guitar, he was 50 years old. And so
wow.
it's the G50.
That's amazing.
It's gorgeous.
And there was some discussion about, do we even need to build the G50? It's a mahogany guitar. And we got the Doc Watson. It's a mahogany guitar. But this is just iconic to me. And Doc played his G50 on Will the Circle Be Unbroken? The
Oh my gosh.
iconic album, really, that brought a lot of people together around this kind of roots music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And John McEwen told me the story about his brother produced the album, and it was his brother's idea to have microphones set up to pick up conversation. And John said, I looked up, and there's Doc and Merle Travis meeting for the first time, and there was no mic.
Oh,
no.
So he grabbed a mic and ran over there and put it between them.
That's really cool.
And he caught the conversation where Merle asked him about what box you playing. He says, Mr. Gallagher down in Wartrace builds this. And Merle says, it rings like a bell.
Oh.
So that's been our line really ever since.
And so
Yeah.
does this one, right?
And so
Yeah.
our newest model is the Bluegrass Bell, and it's Bell.
Yeah.
It's
They get-
beautiful.
Yeah. And it's a pre-war style guitar, which is why it's a new model. It's the first time we've done that. It's forward shifted X brace. Speaking of gear,
Right. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, absolutely.
and it's a torrefied Adirondack top, so it gives it a nice
Oh, yeah.
older sound.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really happy to be able to share these with you.
Oh, thank you for letting us
And that-
play them. They're
That's
beautiful.
ebony fretboard. This is rosewood here.
Rosewood,
Okay.
that was
Oh.
the way he did originally,
Alright.
and most guitars are ebony now.
Yeah. You want to see
except
the
for
back
that
there?
model.
It's really beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
Now,
And it feels good. Like,
I don't play guitar, but what I notice about these is from an ear perspective
Okay.
is how resonant they are.
Yes.
That beautiful
yeah.
tone, and then it just keeps going and going. And that is just amazing.
Yeah, you can feel it when you play it. You
Yeah.
feel it against you.
Your body.
Right.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, David, at the end of every show, we have a tradition
Okay.
where we toast with a yerba mate. It's a non-alcoholic drink. And the reason we do this is one day Julie was texting us and she kept writing yerbas with an apostrophe S. And we're thinking, is she okay?
Earbuds.
We
it was
do
supposed
this.
to be yeehaw.
So I thought, all right, this means something, and it's not meant for me.
She's texting me for
Wrong
somebody
person.
else. Wrong chat group.
Finally found out, but so everything gets an apostrophe S. Doesn't matter what.
Yes.
it is.
Yes, it does.
Your English teacher would not like that, Andy.
Yeah.
No.
That's why you went to practice.
That's right. She
right.
said, just go practice.
Well, we did find, Deb found that there was actually a yerba's mate. And so Siri wasn't so crazy after all. Thought that that's what I was saying. So,
This is-
so let's pop one open.
Okay.
Yes.
Cheers to our yerba's mate. You didn't know you were going to get to try things on this show.
Yerba.
Andy, I'm not missing out.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Andy, I don't know if you can reach me. Wait.
Oh,
On the backside.
Here we go.
Thank you. Here we go.
Raina has one too. Cheers.
Shotgun.
We were just kind of talking earlier about these
Tick
really
picks.
cool tick picks. And You had said something really cool about
Well,
the guy.
yeah, a couple of other things. Kevin is a force of nature. He makes things happen. But he went on Shark Tank with this product. And he told me some behind the scenes back and forth with Mr. Wonderful.
Oh, really?
He's
Is he
not-
wonderful?
Well,
Sometimes.
yes, always wonderful, I'm sure.
Just like me.
But he ended up getting a deal with Mark Cuban.
That's
Oh,
And
money bags.
they're doing
That's very cool.
some great things. So you'll be hearing more about these.
yeah.
And they're coming out with a product that, for the ones that we co-branded, I think they call them Strong is their stiffest one, but they've come out with another one that's even more so. But Kevin has just bought a Gallagher guitar from us.
Ooh.
And he's going to be on a regular basis, I think, at Chief's, the new bar, Eric Church's bar downtown.
Very cool.
Oh, yeah.
And
I've
so
been there.
he wanted his Gallagher to play at the upcoming show.
Oh, that's so awesome.
So
Now,
we're happy about that. Too.
does he stick like all his picks all over his guitar?
Yes.
Oh, very cool. Now, where does he
Looks
live?
like chicken pox.
Yes, I would imagine.
Oh, that's great, though.
Is he from Nashville?
I'm not sure where he's from originally, but he's been in Nashville 10 years or so.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
So he's Nashvilleian.
Yeah, we went and heard him at the Bluebird not too long ago.
Oh, nice.
Puts on a great writers round.
Why did anyone want that? I'm like, well, because you lose your picks all the time.
Oh.
Cleaning lady, she would find them. She'd put them all these different places in the house. I'm like, oh, look, a magic pick. And
Like Christmas again.
yeah, so this, I would imagine you're not losing your picks because you don't have to put them in your pocket.
Yeah.
There's a blue chip pick of hers in one of these trees, and I'm like, let's get that out. And it's like, no, the tree costs too much. We're not getting it out here.
Yeah, the tree costs way more than the pick. But if I got desperate, I could tear that thing apart because we know it's in there.
There's lots of blue chip stories.
How much is that big? Ah.
Yeah, my first one I got, it was from Andy, and it had my name on it.
Okay.
Mando Dog.
You said the first one. Do you still have it?
I do. I
Okay.
actually still
That's
have
shocking.
So
it. I do.
it's I don't know. I guess it's the cost, but I lose them all the time. And so I was like, I'm not buying one of these pigs. And so I bought like 4. I still have them all. I can't
Yeah.
believe it. It's been years.
Okay,
Like,
yeah,
I
good
know.
for you. You're the exception.
Yes.
And every time I think I've lost one, they miraculously show up. Like I feel like they're cardinals. Like cardinals show up in my yard all the time. Like all of a sudden there's a cardinal. There's a cardinal. It's like, oh, there's a blue chip pick. It's hard to say.
What?
Well, they
That's
say
funny.
cardinals come visit as people from who have passed away. When a cardinal visit, I've heard people say that. I don't know if it's true. Yes, I don't know if that's true, but I have tons of cardinals, so I see dead people.
That's what I was wondering about.
Don't stay here too long, David.
It's time to leave.
It's time to go. So, David, before we close out the show, you have something really exciting on May the 4th.
Yes.
Tell us
you,
about it.
It's still, I have to pinch myself. I can't believe it's happening. We've had what's called Gallagher Day. And that's people that have some connection to us and come down. And we've done that 2 years. And Don Gallagher would come down and speak and provide some
wow.
history and things. And
Yeah.
that's really cool. There'd be, 50, 60. We might have a couple of artists that evening. But last year, after it was over, I was thinking, we don't have a music festival in downtown Murfreesboro anymore.
No.
They used to. And maybe this is the opening for us to try to involve the community. And so I started
Yes to
reaching out.
that.
I know, I love it. And so really everyone I approached, they were like, yeah, I'd love to do that. And so we have a group of people that have come together to make this thing happen. And it's good for Gallagher, of course.
Yeah.
They wanted the Gallagher name associated with it because they're proud to have us there.
Oh, my
in
gosh.
Murfreesboro.
Yes.
And so Gallagher Fest, man, how gratifying
Yeah.
is that?
That's huge.
It's great.
So we're having open to the public, free street festival during the day.
Okay.
We've got some instrument contests that will be taking place, have some
Wow.
nice prizes, and then artists that are playing between the contest. So we're just providing it to the community.
Wow.
That evening at the Walnut House, you guys have performed there before.
We have.
We have Josh Wrinkle and Laura Orshaw from the Poe Ramblin' Boys.
Oh, so cool.
Yes. They're opening for Dan Tominski.
Ooh, he's one of my favorites.
Yes.
Honestly, I just love him. On mandolin, too.
Yes. Well, Harry Clark on the mandolin.
Yes. Oh, wow.
Oh, well, you're talking about Dan on the mandolin. too.
Yeah, he used to with, you know, that famous gal.
Yes.
Allison.
Allison. Right. But so it's going to be the Dan Tominski Band.
Oh,
Everyone's
wow.
going to be there.
That is so amazing.
So that is a ticketed event, of course.
Yes.
At the Walnut House, but it's going to be a fabulous day. I'm excited.
Oh, that's so congratulations. I mean, that's a big
fabulous.
deal. Now, is it a certain time it starts in the morning where people kind of filter in? Or
Well, that Friday, it's open to anyone who wants to come bring an instrument. We're just going to jam.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
The
That's
Friday
nice.
evening, we're going to have some jam time.
Yeah.
And then the next day, I think Fiddle kicks it off at, I'm thinking 10.
Ah.
Wow.
Oh, actually, Don Gallagher and David Tipton are presenting some history about Gallagher at 9:30.
Oh, that's
So that's
fabulous.
actually the opening.
And
That's
where can
wonderful.
people get tickets for the Walnut House?
So GallagherFest.com.
Okay.
There's a link there
Excellent.
for the tickets.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right.
Easy
Well, we'll be
breezy.
there.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd love that.
Yeah.
That'd be
Wouldn't miss it.
fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Murfreesboro.
Murfreesboro.
Yeah, come on.
She's in the
Right,
borough.
I know.
Yes.
Right there.
It was so awesome having you here today. Thank you so much for coming and bringing your beautiful guitars. We love
Yes.
seeing them, hearing them.
Yes.
And thank you for sharing your story. It's really inspiring.
Well, thank you very much. This is another thing about music is the way I meet wonderful people.
Yes.
So it's been nice to meet you and to be here.
Well, thank you.
And big reminder, if you're around the borough or just want to
borough.
come out there on May 4th and see Gallagher Fest, that would be fantastic.
Fantastic.
That's all we have for today. And we sure do appreciate you tuning in. And we hope that you click subscribe and like our channel.
And coming up next week, the amazing musician and stand-up bass guitar, Beth Lawrence,
Yes.
will be in the house on April 20th. And her episode will air on April 25th, which happens to be Julia's birthday. Shout out. She turns 30 again. Woo!
Oh, yeah. Well,
It's a special one.
That's a special one. Although I would not want to be 30 again. I'm just saying.
why not?
Because I was stupid. I thought I was so brilliant. I was not. I made a lot of bad decisions.
Well, on that note,
Yes.
until next time,
Don't you worry about it.
Yes.
That's how it goes.